The white ignorance produced this black product. When we got a lot to live for, we walk away from white ignorance. By the international activist Sdwjr. When we have so much to live for, we will never continue to tolerate the systems that destroy our black people in America. Why do black Americans allow the outcomes of white ignorance, their systems, their policies, and their environments created by white ignorance, to dictate the fate of black America? Today, I dedicate this message to the tragic death of Sdwjr Dawkins and the heartbreaking conviction of Sean Simpson, a 16-year-old boy charged as an adult for murder. These are not just individual tragedies. They're the direct results of a system designed to perpetuate ignorance and destruction in black communities. The lens of white chaos. The death of Sdwjr Dawkins and the conviction of Sean Simpson must be viewed through the lens of white ignorance, a system intentionally placed upon black Americans to destabilize, divide, and destroy. Guns in the hands of our youth, the proliferation of drugs and alcohol, and the presence of illegal substances in our communities are not accidents, but intentional by white ignorance. They're the outcomes of white ignorance at work, a truth that most fearful of labeling. These are tools of oppression, carefully placed to ensure that black Americans remain trapped in cycles of violence and despair. The behaviors we see in black communities, behaviors that are often criticized and condemned, are not inherent to black culture. They're the products of an environment shaped by white ignorance. As I've said before, the product of the environment that black Americans live in is the product of white ignorance. Everything comes down to the system created by white Americans, set in autopilot mode. One of the most devastating outcomes of white ignorance is the destruction of the black family. The system has systematically removed black fathers from their homes through mass incarceration, economic disenfranchisement, and systemic racism. This has forced black women to take on dual roles as both mother and father, often while struggling to provide for their families. Meanwhile, white families continue to thrive with both mothers and fathers present, often while benefiting from governmental systems that were designed to support them. This disparity is not a coincidence. It is a product of white ignorance. The system was designed to ensure that black families remain fractured and vulnerable, while white families remain stable and secure. The case of Sean Simpson and Sdwjr Dawkins. The breakdown of the black family. The case of Sean Simpson and Sdwjr Dawkins is a stark reminder of the outcomes of white product. Sean, a 16-year-old boy, was charged as an adult for the murder of Sdwjr, also 16. As Simpson was escorted out of the courtroom, crying out for his mother, I couldn't help but see the bigger picture. This is not just a story of two black boys, one dead, the other facing a life behind bars. This is a story of a system that failed them both. Simpson's actions did not occur in a vacuum. They are the result of an environment shaped by systemic neglect, poverty, and the pervasive presence of guns in black communities. Who placed those guns there? Who benefits from the violence that ensues? These are the questions we must ask ourselves. The guns in our communities are not there by accident. They are there by design. They are a product of white ignorance, a tool used to ensure that black Americans continue to destroy themselves. A call to action. We cannot continue to ignore the role of white ignorance in shaping the lives of black Americans. We must confront the systems that perpetuate inequality and harm. We must demand change, not just in our communities, but in the systems that govern our lives. Confront white ignorance. We must name and confront the systems of white ignorance that perpetuate harm in black communities. This includes addressing the root causes of violence, poverty, and inequality. Rebuild the black family. We must work to restore the black family by addressing the systemic issues that remove black fathers from their homes. This includes advocating for criminal justice reform, economic opportunities, and support for black mothers. Remove the tools of oppression. We must demand the removal of guns, drugs, and other tools of oppression from our communities. This includes holding those in power accountable for the systems that perpetuate harm. Educate and empower. We must educate ourselves and others about the impact of white ignorance and systemic racism. Knowledge is power. and it is only through understanding that we can create meaningful change. Conclusion. The deaths of Zaquavius Dawkins and the conviction of Sean Simpson are not just tragedies. They're symptoms of a larger problem. They're the outcomes of white product, a system designed to oppress and destroy Black Americans. But we have the power to change this. We have the power to demand justice, to fight for equality, and to create a better future for our communities. It is time to stop walking away from the truth. It is time to confront white ignorance and dismantle the systems that perpetuate harm. We have too much to live for to remain silent. Let us rise, let us fight, and let us create a world where every Black life is valued and every Black child has the opportunity to thrive. International activist Sdwjr.